Hi, I'm Gabrielle. I'm a senior. I'm a senior at Eastern High School across the country in Louisville, Kentucky. I'll be attending the University of Southern Mississippi next year to study marine biology. I heard about Project Green through my environmental science class, and I got interested in it just because I am going into marine biology. So sustainability kind of goes hand in hand. I do get really nervous to present. So nervous that I talked to my coworker who's a preacher, and he sent me a video on how to speak publicly. The first thing the guy in the video said is, "Don't tell a joke." So I went home and fixed my presentation, and instead, I'm going to show you a magic trick. It's actually one I saw a couple years ago when I went to this show with my family back in Louisville. This guy had a rope, and he cut it in half, and cut it in half again, and cut it in half again. And he said that the power of people can bring this rope back together. And he had the audience say the magic word, abracadabra. Abracadabra. Thank you. And magically, the rope wound itself back together. But I'm not that good. So instead, my view of the world was just like that rope, point to point. There were things outside of the rope, but I didn't know how to go that route. I didn't know where to start. Project Green was the cut to the rope, just like the magician showed. The food waste day really struck me the most. I found that I could create paint out of coffee grounds, which I'm an avid coffee drinker. I don't know how many of you have seen me drink coffee like crazy. I also drink tea, so I made paints out of tea and coffee and created that picture. And I'm also a crocheter, so my parents still use plastic bags. I'm working on that, guys. But I took those bags and I crocheted a produce bag for them to use at the grocery store out of the plastic bags that they bring home. One of the days talked about compostology, which is a program set up by a high school student in her high school to work on combating the food waste that comes out of high school cafeterias. So I took a look at my school. I live in the biggest school district in Kentucky. It's Jefferson County Public Schools. There are 96,000 students enrolled in my public school, or in my district. 100% of those students are guaranteed access to free lunches and free breakfasts. 50% of those students rely on the school for that free food. Eastern is the second largest school in the district with 2,200 kids, so that means we produce a lot of waste. These are high schoolers. We produce a lot of waste. We don't value what we have. So the issue is we don't know how to manage the waste that we have. There are some projects, some schools recycle already, some have compost programs, but there's no set program. It stems from a racial issue also. We have what's called the 9th Street Divide, and most of the students in the school are minority students. 60% of the students enrolled are minority students, and they are disproportionately affected by the amount of waste of food. The 9th Street Divide goes back to the days of segregation. All of the black people were set past 9th Street, and everybody else was set in good housing, access to good food, and good areas. And once the segregation was lifted, no integration was set. So when kids start to drive, like me, I've heard this thousands of times, don't go past 9th Street when you're driving downtown. So to combat this issue, to combat the waste, first of all, I want to introduce recycling bins into my high school. I want to start at my high school to set the expectation for the high schools in my district for a program of how to handle this. Recycling bins for the cardboard lunch trays, like, great guys, we've got cardboard lunch trays, let's recycle them now. And for the cardboard trays that can't be recycled, the ones that have like ketchup on them and stuff for things like French fries and the grease, those can be composted. And the university in my area has a program where they will partner with organizations and pick up their compost at the end of a week, or depending on the time frame, they'll do it daily, and that could be a partnership. Share bins would also be there, along with the compost bins and the recycle bins, so that the things they're required to take, like milk cartons or juice cartons or bags of fruit, can go in these bins to be picked up by other students at the end of the day so that they can go home and feed their families. Luckily, I've already made some connections. My school is really excited about me coming here, so they got me in contact with Mark Hubert, who's the district communications coordinator, and he directed me to Dan Elnor, who is the assistant director of nutrition. He is going to take me on a tour of the central kitchen to talk with me about programs that we can start together to implement these ideas and make them a reality. So I hope to reduce the waste from my school and give it back to the community, and instead of having a linear timeline of waste, make it circular and put the good things we have back into the environment around us. Like those composted trays, those can go to the agricultural sections of Louisville, and hope to just reduce our waste and use our waste as a good way, in a good way. And I just want to leave an impact. I want to impact those around me and leave a legacy as I go to Mississippi. And Kentucky has a lot of problems, but if we start small, it can grow.